Hello students, how are you? I hope you all are good. So in my last video, I explained first story of chapter 3, two stories about flying. I explained the first part of the story, that is his first flight. Okay? In my last video, I finished explanation of part 1, his first flight. And today in this video I am going to summarize the chapter and I will also discuss answers to all the questions. Okay students, so let us begin. Let us begin the summary of the chapter. So as we know that this story is an imaginary story of a young seagull. This is an imaginary story of a young seagull. The time had come when he must learn how to fly. His two brothers and a little sister had learned how to fly by emulating their parents. They had simply run to the brink of the ledge, flapped their wings, and flown away. But when the young seagull came to the brink and tried to fly in the air, he became afraid. He felt sure that if he tried to fly, he would fall into the sea below. So he ran back to his hole on the ledge and he thought that his wings would never support. The seagull's parents came to take him along with them, but he refused to fly. They threatened that he would starve on the ledge, but the bird, too afraid to move. 24 hours passed. The seagull had not eaten anything. He began to feel very hungry. He saw his mother sitting on a plateau. She was eating a fish. The sight only increased his hunger. He was maddened with hunger. He requested his mother to bring him some food. The mother looked at him derisively, but then she picked a piece of fish and flew towards him. The mother did not come to him. She halted her wings and became motionless. The seagull wondered why she was not coming near him. He could not bear it any longer. He was maddened by hunger. He dived at fish. He could not reach. His mother fell from the ledge downwards into space. He was filled with fear and cried, but his fear lasted only a minute. He spread his wings and tried to fly. Suddenly, he found that he was flying. He cried with joy and started flying higher and higher. His parents, brothers, and sisters flew around him and screamed with joy. After some time, the seagull's parents, brothers, and sister landed on the sea. They asked him to come there. The seagull thought that it was green flooring. He dropped his legs to stand on the green sea. His legs sank into the sea and he cried with fear, but his belly touched the water and he did not drown. He began to float on the sea. His family members praised him and gave him pieces of fish to eat. Thus, the seagull had made his first flight. Okay, students, so this is a short summary of the chapter in which we have seen that how a seagull, which in the beginning was afraid to fly, but at the end of the story he started flying. So in the same way, students, it happens with us when our parents give us punishment because they want to improve us, they want to teach us good values. So that is why they punish us, as it happens in this chapter. The seagull's mother let him starve and did not give him anything to eat. So it was a punishment for the seagull, and because of that punishment, seagull learnt how to fly. So always, if a punishment is given to you, take it positively. It is for your betterment. A punishment is given to you in order to teach you something, in order to teach you the good values, in order to teach you discipline. Okay, so now we are going to discuss question answer of the same chapter, same part. After question answer, I will start the second part of the chapter. Okay, that is a second story. Okay, so let's begin the discussion of question answer. So look at page number 36. The first question is, why was the young seagull afraid to fly? Do you think all young birds are afraid to make their first flight? Or are some birds more timid than others? Do you think a human baby also finds it a challenge to take its first flight? To take its first steps? Yes, of course. Why not? A human baby also find it a challenge while taking his first steps. So let us discuss answer to the question. So why was the young seagull afraid to fly? The young seagull was afraid to fly because it was his first flight and he feared of falling and hurting himself. He thought that his wings would never support him while flying. Yes, it is natural that doing something for the first time is a bit challenging and fearful. All birds must be afraid to make their first flight. Similarly, a human baby is also afraid of taking the first step and find it challenging when he learns to crawl or stand up without support. Okay, of course it happens with human baby. Now let us discuss second question. The sight of the food maddened him. What does this suggest? What compelled the young seagull to finally fly? Okay, so the sight of the food maddened him. What does this suggest? What compelled the young seagull to finally fly? So the young seagull was very hungry. It was his hunger that ultimately compelled it to fly. Its hunger intensified when it was its mother tearing at a piece of fish that lay at her feet. It cried to her, begging her to get some food. When its mother came towards it with food and her beak, it screamed with joy and anticipation. However, she stopped midday. It wondered, the seagull wondered why she did not come nearer, not being able to resist or confronts hunger any longer. It dived at the food in its mother's beak. At that moment, his hunger overpowered his fear. At that point, he had overcome his fear, because when he became very hungry, then and his hunger was out of control. He was not able to resist the control over hunger any longer. Okay, so on that point, his hunger overpowered his fear of the great expanse of the sea beneath the cliff. Finally, this plunge was followed by the natural reaction of its body. So that is, he started to fly. Okay, so because since last 24 hours he had eaten nothing, so the sight of food which his mother was tearing made him mad. Okay, he had gone mad after seeing those pieces of fish, and then he came at the end of the ledge, at the end of the cliff, and started flying in order to take that piece of fish from its mother's beak. So at this point, out of hunger compelled him to take the first step for flying. So in this way, finally he started flying. Look at the third question now. They were beckoning to him, calling shrilly. Why did the seagull's father and mother threaten him and cause him to fly? They were beckoning him, calling shrilly. Why did the seagull's father and mother threaten him and cajole him to fly? Why they were encouraging him? Why they were scolding him for flying? So seagull's parents had tried everything, but he was not willing to fly. Seagull's parents had tried everything, but the seagull was not willing to fly due to fear of falling down, due to fear that his feathers would not support. He looked at his brothers and sister, but wouldn't make any effort. So that's why the whole family had let him alone and threatened him and cajoled him to come, but every effort went in vain. So look at the fourth question. Have you ever had a similar experience where your parents encouraged you to do something that you were too scared to try? Discuss this in pairs or groups. So this question is for you to discuss. Have your parents ever scolded you to dare for something? Okay, so it is of your own experience. So as per your experience, you students answer to this question. So look at answer number 5. In the case of a bird flying, it seems a natural act and a foregone conclusion that it should succeed in the examples you have given in answer to the previous question. Was your success guaranteed, or was it important for you to try regardless of the possibility of failure? So this question also will be answered by you as per your experience. Okay, students. Now it's time for speaking. We have just read about the first flight of a young seagull. Your teacher will now divide the class into groups. So you will be divided into groups. Each group will work on one of the following topics. Prepare a presentation with your group members and then present it to the entire class. So it will be done when your school will reopen. This activity will be done in class. Now writing part. Write a short composition on your initial attempts at learning a skill. You could describe the challenges of learning to ride a bicycle or learning to swim. Make it as humorous as possible. So you have to, as per your experience, you have to write whatever you learned first time, what type of problem you faced and how did you overcome, and try to make it funny, try to make it humorous. Okay, students. So first part we have finished fully. Now let us discuss. I'm going to explain the second part of the same chapter, that is the black aeroplane. Okay beta, so get ready for the same. The moon was coming up in the east behind me, and stars were shining in the clear sky above me. So the narrator tells us that the sky was clear and the moon was coming up in the east behind the narrator. There wasn't a cloud in the sky. There was no cloud in the sky. The weather was fine. I was happy to be alone high up above the sleeping countryside, and the narrator was happy to be alone in the sky. And everyone was sleeping. It means it was the time of night. I was flying my old Dakota aeroplane over France back to England. So the narrator was flying his old Dakota aeroplane over France and he was going back to England. I was dreaming of my holiday and looking forward to being with my family. So the narrator was dreaming of his holiday as his holiday started and he was going back to his home. So I was dreaming of my holiday and looking forward to being with my family. I looked at my watch, 1:30 in the morning. So he looked at his watch. It was 1:30 in the morning. I should call Paris control room, I thought. So the narrator thought that he should call Paris control room. As I looked down past the nose of the aeroplane, I saw the lights of a big city in front of me. So as he looked down, as the narrator looked down past the nose of the aeroplane, he found that the lights of big city was in front of him. I switched on the radio and said, Paris control, Dakota DS 088 here. So he switched on the radio and tried to establish a connection with the Paris control room. So that's why he said Dakota DS 088, tried to contact Paris control room. So that's why he said, Dakota DS088 here. Can you hear me? I am on the way to England. Over. So he said, I am going to England. Over. This voice was, the radio answered me immediately. So when he finished the radio from the other side, from Paris control, he got the answer, DS088, I can hear you. You ought to turn 12 degrees west now, DS088, over. So he got instruction that he should turn his plane 12 degree west then. I checked the map and the compass, switched over to my second and last fuel tank and turned the Dakota 12 degrees west towards England. I checked the map, then he checked his map and compass and then switched over to second and last fuel tank. Then he checked his second and the last fuel tank and turned the Dakota 12 degrees west towards England. Then he turned his plane towards England. Okay. I'll be in time for breakfast. So he was thinking that he would be in time for breakfast. He would reach his home in time. I thought a good big English breakfast. So he was going to home. It was his holiday. So he was thinking about big English breakfast. Everything was going on well. It was an easy flight. So everything was going on well and his flight was going on smoothly. Everything was good. There was no problem. Paris was about 150 kilometers behind me when I saw the clouds. So Paris was about 150 kilometers behind him when he saw the clouds. So now he was ahead. He was 150 kilometers ahead of Paris when he saw clouds, storm clouds. They were huge. Then suddenly weather became worse and he saw storm clouds. They were huge. They looked like black mountains standing in front of me across the sky. So earlier the weather was good, but when he was 1 kilometer ahead of Paris, then he found weather very bad. I knew I could not fly up and over them, and I did not have enough fuel to fly around them to the north or south. So he knew that he could not fly with those bad weather and with those clouds. Through those clouds it was not possible to fly further, and I did not have enough fuel to fly around them to the north or south, and also he did not have enough fuel to fly to the north or south. I ought to go back to Paris. Then he decided to go back to Paris. He thought he should go back to Paris as the weather was very bad. But I wanted to get home. But he was homesick and the narrator wanted to reach home also. I wanted that breakfast. So he was missing the breakfast of his home. I will take the risk, I thought. So he thought he would take the risk and flew that old Dakota straight into the storm. And he then took the risk and flew that old Dakota straight into the storm. Inside the clouds, everything was suddenly black. When he entered the clouds, he found everything was suddenly black. It was impossible to see anything outside the aeroplane. So it had become impossible to see anything outside the plane. So it was become dark because the weather was cloudy. The old aeroplane jumped and twisted in the air. The old aeroplane started jumping and twisting in the air. I looked at the compass. I could not believe. When the narrator looked at the compass, he could not believe that the compass was turning round and round and round. When he looked at the compass, he could not believe that the compass was turning round and round and round. It was dead. It was out of order. It would not work. The compass was not working. The other instruments were suddenly dead. The other instruments also suddenly dead. So no instruments was working. He was now caught in black mountain like clouds. The weather was very rough. I tried the radio. Then he tried the radio to contact the control room. Paris control, can you hear me? So in order to, he was trying to contact with the Paris control. There was no answer. He found no answer. The radio was dead too. So radio was also dead. I had no radio, no compass, and I could not see where I was. So now he had no radio, no compass, and he did not know that where he was. I was lost in the storm. So the narrator was lost in the storm. Then in the black clouds quite near me, I saw another aeroplane. Then in the black clouds quite near him, just close to him, he saw another aeroplane. It had no lights on its wing, but I could see it flying next to me. But the plane had no lights on its wing, but the narrator could see it flying just next to him through the storm. I could see the pilot's face turned towards me. So the narrator could see the pilot's face. He was turning his face toward the narrator. I was very glad to see another person. So now, because the weather was very bad, it was getting dark, the huge mountains like cloud were there. So that's why the narrator felt relief when he saw another person was flying with him. He lifted one hand and waved. So the another pilot, the pilot of another plane, he lifted his one hand and waved. Follow me, he was saying, as if he was saying, follow me, follow me. He knows that I am lost. So he knew that the narrator was lost. I thought he is trying to help me. So the narrator thought that the pilot of other plane, he was trying to help him. He turned his aeroplane slowly to the north in front of my Dakota so that it would be easier for me to follow him. So he turned his aeroplane slowly to the north in front of his Dakota so that it would be easier for the narrator to follow him. So I was very happy to go behind the strange aeroplane like an obedient child. So narrator had no option. Narrator was lost in the black mountain like clouds. So that's why he had no option but to follow him like an obedient child. After half an hour, the strange plane, black aeroplane was still there in front of me in the clouds. So after half an hour, the strange black aeroplane which came to help the narrator was still in front of him. Now there was only enough fuel in the old Dakota's last tank to fly for 5 or 10 minutes more. Now when the narrator checked the fuel tank, he found only fuel was left for flight to fly for 5 or 10 minutes more. I was starting to feel frightened again. So narrator again started feeling frightened because there was no enough fuel in his tank of aeroplane. But then he started to go down and I followed through the storm. Then another aeroplane started going down. The narrator also followed him. Suddenly I came out of the clouds and saw two long straight lines of the lights in front of me. Suddenly the narrator had come out of the clouds and he had seen two long straight lines of lights in front of him. It was a runway, an airport. It was safe. So it was a runway, it was an airport, and now narrator was safe. I turned to look for my friend in the black aeroplane. Then the narrator turned to look his the pilot of black aeroplane, but the sky was empty. There was nothing there, but he found the sky was empty. There was no one there. The black aeroplane was gone. The black aeroplane had been gone. I could not see it anywhere. So the narrator could not see the black aeroplane and his pilot anywhere. I landed and was not sorry to walk away from the old Dakota near the control tower. So he landed and he was very happy because he landed near the control tower. I went and asked a woman in control center where I was and who other pilot was. So he went in and asked a woman in control center where he was and who the other pilot was who helped him. I wanted to say thank you as he wanted to thank him because he helped the narrator. She looked at me very strangely. So the lady looked at him very strangely and then laughed. Then she laughed and she replied, "Another aeroplane? Up there in this storm." No other aeroplanes were flying tonight. He said, "Another aeroplanes up in this stormy night. There was no aeroplane flew today. Yours was the only one I could see on the radar, and yours plane was the only one which I could see on the radar," she replied. "So who helped me to arrive there safely without a compass or a radio and without any more fuel in my tanks?" Then he was shocked, he was surprised, he was wondering that who was the person who landed me safely without compass, without radio, and without enough fuel in my tank. Who was the pilot on the strange black aeroplane, and who was the pilot of the strange black aeroplane flying in the storm without lights, who was flying in the storm without lights. So it is all about part 2 summary and answer to the questions I will discuss in my next video. Thank you for watching.